This is your Wrestlemania review for April 7th. Well, it's April 8th now, 2019. Wrestlemania just goes off the air at 12:23 a.m. WrestleMania on the main show went 5 hours 23 minutes. Overall, 7 hours and 23 minutes, with the entire pre-show being 2 hours. We had a lot of title changes. Every title on this card, including the pre-show, changed hands but two. The United States Championship and the SmackDown Live Women Tag Team Championships are the only titles in this entire show that changed hands. We had both titles on the pre-show, which was Buddy Murphy versus Tony Nese, which you didn't even have to watch 205 Live, just had to have a notion of what they were doing from the time Buddy Murphy won the championship to know that Tony Nese was winning the championship on this night. You also had Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins. The streak is over. WrestleMania is where the streaks go to die. And Kurt Hawkins suckered in one member of the Revival to roll them up to win the tag team titles, which I'm sure they will lose tomorrow night on Monday Night Raw. It's just how this goes. Unfortunately, the women's tag team titles have become 1,000% irrelevant, as the Iconics are your tag team champions after a terrible, terrible match. One of the worst matches on the show, probably the worst match of them all. Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre, where they put on an absolute snore fest. Roman Reigns is by far one of the most boring wrestlers in all of WWE. And the fact that the crowd, this was of course after anything that followed Kofi Kingston, and Roman and Drew was one of those matches, was absolutely dead. But when Roman and Drew was out there, and I was following along on Twitter, not Cultaholic, but What Culture was in the crowd. I believe it was Adam Wilborn who said that, or it's like the What Culture thing itself, website, Twitter feed said itself, that during this match they were doing a Mexican wave. A Mexican wave was more over than Roman Reigns in New York City. So to anybody who thinks that WWE has the fans on Roman's side, just watch this match tonight. It was an absolute snore fest and was boring as can be. And it's a damn shame for Drew McIntyre that he had to lose to Roman Reigns. Miz and Shane McMahon put on a better match than it had any right to be. Shane McMahon ends up winning after the Miz takes him and suplexes him off of one of these camera stands that they have for a wide shot. Back down, and I don't know if it was meant to be that way. I don't know if Miz was supposed to win, but Shane ends up on top of the Miz and gets the win by pinning him after a pretty good Falls Count Anywhere match. Batista and Triple H went way too long, 23 minutes. I believe it was the longest match of the night, which, of course, if it is, it would not surprise me, since Triple H has to have the longest match of the night. Just look at Crown Jewel and Super Showdown. Those matches went 40-some minutes. This match only went 23, unless the women's match went longer, which I don't know if it did. That would give Triple H the nod again. Samoa Joe defended his U.S. Championship in a match that was pretty much a squash match. Rey Mysterio got injured on Monday Night Raw, and instead of taking him out of the match, which Dominic paid nothing. There was no Dominic whatsoever. He wasn't shown at, he wasn't at ringside, nothing. Whatever they had planned for Dominic was scratched because of Rey Mysterio's injury. They went through the match. He dressed like Aquaman, I guess. It looked like Mysterio to me when he came out, because he had this cape on that looked like he was Mysterio from the new Spider-Man movie coming out, but people say Aquaman, so I'm not going to fight with them. So, yeah, 55 seconds, the shortest match of the night. It did make Samoa Joe look like an absolute savage, but it was what it was. Everyone, including myself, came out and was like, there's no way Seth Rollins, Kofi Kingston, and Becky Lynch were all walking out as champions. Just no way whatsoever. We got a surprise, and I was shocked, and I think everyone else was shocked. Brock Lesnar versus Seth Rollins opened the show on the main card. Opened the show, lasted not even 3 minutes, and we have a new Universal Champion in Seth Rollins. This was the show, in my opinion, up until the Kofi Kingston match, was not a bad WrestleMania. WrestleMania 35 was actually not bad at all. And so, except for, of course, the Iconics winning the women's tag team titles. and taking the tag team championships, taking whatever relevancy the tag team champions had for the women and just throwing it away. Just an absolute dumb thing for them to do. Luckily, the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal was on the pre-show, so we didn't have to deal with the comedy fodder on the main card. That was actually kept away from that. John Cena bringing back the Doctor of Thugonomics for a thing with Elias was absolutely magical. Was absolutely one of the best parts of the show. John Cena, of course, shows you why he is one of, if not one of the best on the mic to ever have the mic in his hand. It was absolutely awesome. The Fatal 4-Way for the SmackDown Live Tag Team Championships was one of the best matches of the show. It was a fun match. Ricochet and Aleister Black looked great, and they didn't lose by getting pinned. They didn't win the match either. The bar were the ones to take the pinfall. I think Nakamura and Rusev should have been the ones to take the fall. But each its own. The Usos retained in that match. Definitely a fun match. Should be the last time Ricochet and Aleister Black are a tag team. Unless they want to keep them as a tag team for Raw and SmackDown this week, and then we'll break them up with the Superstar Shakeup. It would not surprise me with the Superstar Shakeup. We'll know then when Aleister Black or where Ricochet is going to be. One's going to go to Raw and one's going to go to SmackDown. Let's see here. Let's see, what else do we have here that I missed out on? Let's see, yeah. No, I think that was everything. Oh yeah, Baron Corbin Kurt Angle was a waste of time. Absolute waste of time. 6 minutes and 5 seconds, Kurt Angle loses in 6 minutes and 5 seconds. So that's that. Yep, Triple H, again, had the longest match on the show. 24 minutes and 45 seconds. The main event of the show. The overbooked, overhyped, and sloppy main event went 21 minutes, while Triple H, if you want to look at it, had the biggest entrance and had the longest match. Again, Triple H showing how selfish he is. And did you really think Triple H was going to lose at WrestleMania to Batista with his career on the line? This is not the first time Triple H put his career on the line at WrestleMania. He put it on the line against Brock Lesnar, I think at WrestleMania 29, and won. So I don't see Triple H putting his career on the line and losing. He's going to wrestle until he can't wrestle anymore, and that's going to still keep happening. I wish he would have lost just so we didn't have to have the obligatory Triple H match at WrestleMania. And now, Shane needs to have the same thing because this needs to be the last time we see Shane in the ring. Plain and simple. It was a good match, but it was definitely something that we don't need to see again. And I believe that was it. Yeah, Kofi Kingston and Daniel Bryan was the 10th match of the show. There were 6 matches to follow, and each and every one of those matches, the crowd was absolutely dead for, and that includes the women's main event. Finn Balor beats Bobby Lashley in no time whatsoever. It was a very fast match, definitely a squash match, even though... And it was the penultimate match. It was the match before. It went 4 minutes. It was the match before we got to Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, and Ronda Rousey. Unfortunately, the first match on the pre-show, and I thought this was a big disrespect, was the Cruiserweight Championship, Tony Nese and Buddy Murphy. This match I knew from the start. When Buddy Murphy won the Cruiserweight Championship from Cedric Alexander, I didn't know if it was going to be the Royal Rumble or WrestleMania, but this was where this entire championship reign was going to go to. Tony Nese beating Buddy Murphy at WrestleMania or at the Royal Rumble or wherever they were going to go. That was the most obvious thing, and then they had this tournament. I knew Tony Nese was going to win that. Buddy was going to turn on Tony, and Tony was going to get him at WrestleMania and Buddy Murphy would have his comeuppance at WrestleMania, and that is exactly what happened. Am I happy with the fact that Tony Nese and Buddy Murphy was the first thing you saw in matches for WrestleMania? No, I think they should have been a little bit later in the pre-show because they were on the pre-show. Honestly, I think this should have been the spot for Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins, but this is what we get. We get the Cruiserweight Championship. Aiden English, Nigel McGuinness, and Vic Joseph was on the call for the Cruiserweight Championship. And we had Buddy Murphy immediately tries for a big knee. Nese brawls back and unloads. Nese gets fired up and drops Murphy, yelling that this is his WrestleMania. They go to the floor and Nese rocks Murphy, dropping him. Nese brings it back to the ring. and goes to the top. Murphy runs up but gets sent back to the mat. Murphy runs back up to the top and ends up dropping Nice gut first on the top turnbuckle. We go to a commercial break, which I fucking hate this. You overhyped the women's championship match at the main event of this WrestleMania so much that no matter what, Becky, Ronda, and Charlotte, it could have been the most picture-perfect match of the night. It was never going to meet the expectations that you laid on it. It was not the worst match in the night, but it was not the best match in the night. We'll get to that later. Getting to the end of this match here, Nice brings it back to the ring and hits a 450 from the top rope, but Murphy kicks out at 2. They go back and forth a little bit more. Nice kicks out of Murphy's Law. Nice cannot believe it. Nice with a big counter and a German into the turnbuckle. Nice with more offense than the running. They call it the running Nice in the corner, which is kind of fucking stupid for a name, but WWE has to give superstars names for the finishes that are after them. Hits the running Nice for the 1, 2, 3, and your winner is the Cruiserweight Champion and new Cruiserweight Champion, Tony Nese. I knew this match was going to be Tony Nese winning. It was no doubt about it. Tony Nese was going to win. Just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Not a bad match. These guys, the Cruiserweights, always put on great matches. I wish they would get their just due and be on WrestleMania. This was absolutely, I think, disrespectful to the Cruiserweights to make them the opening contest, especially when you have Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins facing the Revival later on in the pre-show on USA Network. This should have been on the USA Network and been the last match you saw before we got to WrestleMania. That's just my opinion. Coach sends Carly Russo with Pat McAfee. They also with Sal and Q, the Impractical Jokers. They talk about looking forward to tonight's show and they're big fans of WWE. WWE Hall of Famer joins the panel and as they discuss The Miz vs. Shane McMahon, and then we go back to the ring for the second annual Women's Battle Royal. It was called by Renee Young, Vic Joseph, and Percy Watson. Of course, we were going to get Percy on this show one way or another, even though he's not been on 205 Live for a good while. Candice LeRae was out here, as well was Ember Moon. It was nice to see Ember Moon back. She did get a good bit of she did get some highlight spots. She did hit a assisted eclipse onto somebody. She hit another one on the top rope. She did not win, unfortunately. Asuka, 2 weeks ago, walking into SmackDown, was the SmackDown Live Women's Champion. Coming out of that match, she lost the SmackDown Live Women's Champion, fucked out of a WrestleMania match on the WrestleMania card with a chance to have a WrestleMania moment, all the way to putting to this Battle Royal and unable to win it by getting eliminated by Sarah Logan. This match was won. Asuka had the best showing in this match. Asuka was the MVP of this match, if you want to give an MVP to this match. The winner of this match for the second year in a fucking row is somebody who takes a nap on the outside for half the match. Last year was Naomi. Remember last year when it looked like Bayley was going to win this thing? She threw Sasha Banks out of the ring, and it looked like she was going to win, and Naomi, out of nowhere, who hasn't been seen for half the match, comes in and wins the damn thing. They said, whoa, that worked so well last year. Let's do it again. Asuka gets eliminated by Sarah Logan. Sarah Logan looks like she won it. Carmella comes back in and was never eliminated. Carmella comes from behind, but Logan drops her. Carmella and Logan take turns trying to dump each other now. Carmella finally eliminates Logan with a super kick from the apron to win. So, this match has been absolutely irrelevant both times. Naomi did nothing with it, and Carmella is going to do absolutely nothing with this. Asuka is going to be just mistreated, and WWE gives no fucks about Asuka. She was robbed of the Women's Championship in an impromptu match that she probably wasn't even prepared for because there was no build to it, and it was thrown at last minute. And she couldn't even win this worthless, irrelevant Battle Royal. What a terrible match. Then we had... It was just a terrible match. Absolute awful match. Another one of these matches that nobody's going to care about, and by the time Money in the Bank comes around, which is the next pay-per-view, the Saudi show, as we talked about on Unscripted, go check out Unscripted. It is on the channel. The Saudi show in May has been moved to June, so Money in the Bank is our next pay-per-view on the 19th. That is about, I believe, 5 weeks away, so we are going to get a little bit of build, a good bit of build going into Money in the Bank. Then we had Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder versus The Revival for the Raw Tag Team titles. It was rumored that coming into WrestleMania there was going to be a new set of tag team titles given out during this match, and that did not happen. They are still the titles that we see, which is kind of lame. I hope they do change that tomorrow night. We'll have to wait and find out, but we do have new Raw Tag Team Champions. Michael Cole was on commentary with Corey Graves and Renee Young. Out came the Tag Team Champions, and as well as Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder. This match ended. It was a nice match. It was a good match. Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder actually looked like they were a sizable threat to the Revival. It is a shame that the Revival were even on the pre-show. It does suck, and I honestly think they could have been on the main card. This match went about 13 minutes, so both teams got to give you what they can. The end of the match came down to it that Kurt Hawkins was the legal man. He took a nasty, nasty looking brainbuster on the floor. Everyone on the outside was down. Dawson and Hawkins break the count as fans chant for Hawkins. Dawson isn't impressed with the chants. Dawson mocks Hawkins. He goes to lift him up. He falls. Then Hawkins falls right back down like he is dead fucking weight. Hawkins ends up suckering Dawson, and he rolls him up for the 1, 2, 3. Winners and new Raw Tag Team Champions are Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder. They're going to do a Zack Ryder that they did at WrestleMania. What was it, 31 or 32, where he won the tag team. He won the Intercontinental title at WrestleMania in the ladder match that they had, and then the very next night, Maurice made her return and cost him the Intercontinental title, giving it to The Miz, and he had a one-day title reign. Do I see the same thing for Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder? Yes. The streak is broken. WrestleMania is where streaks go to die, as this is the third streak at WrestleMania that has been broken. A 260-some day title losing streak has been broken, as Kurt Hawkins was the one to get the pinfall, as he should have if they were going to do this. After the match, Hawkins and Ryder go up with the gold. They are all happy with what they do. Yay for them. Then we had one of the dumbest matches of the show, the most irrelevant Battle Royal of them all, the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. This was not on the main card, and I thank the wrestling gods that it wasn't. It sucks because Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy, they had to do a commercial break because they were on the USA Network. So Matt and Jeff Hardy came out, and their music's blaring, and they go right back up to the commentators because they had to sit there and kill time for a commercial break. So you're trying to listen to the panel talk, and you can't hear what they're saying because Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy's music's playing, and they're waiting for a commercial to kill time, and it was just a whole big mess. And of course, Colin Jost and Michael Che came out. They looked like Michael Che looked like he was scared to death, like he wanted nothing to do with this. Colin Jost comes out with an Odell Beckham Jr. Browns jersey on, which was probably not a good idea, and he's lucky he was in the confines of WWE because I'm pretty sure he would have been beaten down by the fans in the WrestleMania venue in the MetLife Stadium. But yeah, the match came down to Matt and Jeff Hardy trying to pull Braun Strowman out. Colin Jost and Michael Che were hiding under the ring the entire match. They come out. They try to throw Braun Strowman off over to end his Battle Royal match. They get kicked off. Braun Strowman eliminates both Hardy Boys, and then Colin Jost brings in his so-called therapist to calm down Braun Strowman. The therapist gets absolutely destroyed. Michael Che tries to leave. Braun Strowman grabs him, slaps him across the face. He's gone. And then he grabs Michael Che and throws him over a bunch of wrestlers who were waiting on the outside, and that was that. Just another Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal that nobody's going to care about. It lasted about 10 minutes. Both Battle Royals lasted about 10 minutes. Good for them. Then the show started. Then WrestleMania started, and oh boy. Talk about starting WrestleMania off well. We did have Alexa Bliss, who was the host, come out to start the show. Not a problem with that. What did you expect any otherwise? She comes out after we, of course, get the America the Beautiful, all that stuff, the opening packages, the opening video package, which seemed to take forever, which was a nice one, but it seemed to take forever. He speaks from the stage and welcomes everyone to WrestleMania. Says you don't need just a host of a night like this. You need a goddess. Bliss says she has everyone in the whole show in the palm of her hand, which means if she wanted a WrestleMania moment, all she had to do was snap her fingers. She said, "Don't believe me?" She snaps her fingers, and Hulk Hogan's music hits, and out comes Hulk to a nice pop. He wouldn't have the pop of the night, of course. That would belong to Kofi Kingston, but we'll get to that later. The Hulkster says it's great to be back here at WrestleMania, and it's great to be back in the Silver Dome, because, of course, we have to make a reference to his botch at WrestleMania 30 when they were in the Superdome, but he said Silver Dome, blah, 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 not funny. Hogan uses the correct name and says he's looking at 80,000 screaming Hulkamaniacs. Hogan goes on and asks what you're going to do when Hulk Hogan, Alexa Bliss, and WrestleMania runs wild on you. He does his pose with Alexa Bliss, has her do it with him, so there's all of that. So, nice little opening moment for WWE and WrestleMania. While Bliss and Hogan are doing some poses, out comes Paul Heyman, who just marches to the ring, making the long walk from the stage to the ring. Heyman says if his client is not on last night, then he is not hanging around here all night to wait. They aren't happy about Lesnar not being in the main event, it appears. Heyman says they are getting their business done. They're taking a jet to Las Vegas where his client is ultimately appreciated. Heyman says, let's get this nonsense over because we're doing it right here, right now. Fans are going crazy. Heyman begins his introduction for the Universal Champion, Brock Lesnar, screaming the whole thing. Out comes Brock Lesnar, and out comes Seth Rollins. So yes, we started WrestleMania with the Universal Championship. We got, like I said, all the two titles changed hands, and this would be one of them. This show, when we were going into this, everyone was afraid that if Kofi and Seth won their matches, that Becky Lynch was not walking out as the women's champions. The way they did this, Seth opened, Kofi was in the middle, and Becky closed. So they had a space in between all three matches that if they wanted to have all three championships change hands, they wouldn't overshadow each other, even though Kofi Kingston's win overshadowed anything that came after it. Rollins hits the apron to enter the ring, but Lesnar immediately attacks him. Lesnar goes to work and drops Rollins with a huge F5 on the outside. Lesnar sends Rollins into what they said was the LED board, but the LED boards were not on the ring. It was just the ring curtain. He actually hit him into the metal that's under the ring. And the bell at ringside. The bell still has not hit. Lesnar tosses Rollins over the German announce table and stares the ref down. Rollins goes over another announce table. They come back into the ring as Heyman yells for them to ring the bell. The referee checks on Rollins. Lesnar throws Rollins right back to the floor and keeps the attack going. Lesnar laughs after destroying Rollins some more. I know a lot of people are thinking this is when Dean's going to show up. Dean's going to help Seth Rollins take out Brock Lesnar and then before the bell rings because anything can happen before that. That, of course, didn't happen. Dean Ambrose was not at WrestleMania. And again, to anybody who thought that Dean Ambrose was a work, you are a belligerent idiot. I'm just going to say that right now. I don't care if you want 10,000 more subs than me. I don't give a shit. If you thought Dean Ambrose was coming out tonight, you are a blithering idiot. He was not here for this match or Roman versus Drew, which was a boring match, and I think that would have helped spice that match up. We'll get to it later. They return to the ring, and the bell finally rings. Lesnar goes right to work and delivers the first German. Lesnar talks some trash to the camera and tosses another German. Rollins gets put up for an F5, but he gets down and shoves Rock into the ref, but the ref doesn't go down. He just bails out to the outside. Seth gets to hits the low blow after Lesnar almost runs the referee. He ends up on the outside. Rollins hits the stomp for a big pop. Rollins delivers a second stomp. Brock still gets up. Seth hits a third stomp. Pins 1, 2, 3. Brock Lesnar is no longer the Universal Champion. At 2 minutes and 30 seconds, we have a new Universal Champion. And it couldn't have happened to a nicer guy. I'm so glad to see Seth Rollins win. Definitely one of the biggest surprises of the night with the fact that way things usually go in WWE, you have three marquee matches with Kofi versus Bryan, Seth versus Roman, Seth versus Brock, and Becky versus Charlotte versus Ronda, and you have three big baby faces and Becky, Becky, Seth, and Kofi. One of those people usually would not be leaving WrestleMania as champion, and surprisingly, all three did. So it was a great start to the show. I'm going to say WrestleMania, this was probably one of the best, like, I wouldn't say the best technical matches, but one of the best ways to start off a WrestleMania in the surprise factor, because nobody expected this match to happen this quick. And if they would have went, like, if they would have had all three big title matches towards the end of the show, I think we would have seen a much different outcome. And I told you on Unscripted, go check that out on the channel, that Seth Rollins, the Seth Rollins could win this match because of what happened with the fact that the Saudi show for May has been moved to June, and Brock Lesnar was only scheduled for the May show, and from what we know so far, he was not scheduled for the June show. So maybe they don't have Brock Lesnar anymore, and this was it for Brock Lesnar for a while, and hopefully it is. Brock comes back in about 2 years or so, or a year or so, or 6 months, whatever. He is not to be in the Universal Championship picture again. After the match, Heyman looks on shock. That's going to be memed. Remember when Undertaker's record was broken? You had that guy with like the shocked look on his face, with his eyes almost popping out of his face. I think that's going to be replaced with the look that Paul Heyman gave us tonight for this shock victory. We got a replay as Rollins music hits. Pyro goes off around the stadium as Rollins raises the title on the stage. So, off to a good start right there. The next match, WrestleVotes actually said was going to be the first match of the night, and honestly, it didn't happen that way. As I don't know what changed, why they went with this match. Maybe they wanted to give all three championships to the babyfaces. They didn't want to do the obligatory, we're going to have these three big matches, and we want one's going to end up losing, which is probably going to be Seth. They went this route. Maybe talks between WWE and Brock Lesnar broke down. Maybe this was his final show for now. We'll have to wait and see. But the next match was AJ Styles versus Randy Orton. This was a good match. I love this match. This match was great. I'm a little disappointed we didn't get the RKO out of nowhere from the 450. I think that would have been great. We did get an RKO out of nowhere, but to me, it was a little lackluster. It did not win the match. AJ Styles actually won this match. And coming into WrestleMania until about a week and a half ago, we didn't know what was up with AJ Styles. Was he staying or was he going? Was he going to sign with WWE? That going into the show, we didn't know, but of course, it would have made it more unpredictable. It would have made it more predictable, in my opinion, if AJ Styles wouldn't have signed, because he would have lost this match. But him signing with WWE made it more unpredictable of who was going to win. Again, love this match. These guys put on a hell of an effort. Do I see this continuing? I could say probably if they want to continue this. I hope it doesn't. Maybe this leads to these guys having a number one contenders match for a chance to face the new WWE champion. Again, we'll get to that later. Tom Phillips, Corey Graves, and Hall of Famer Jerry the King Lawler were introduced as a special guest commentator for this match. There was a theme going into this show tonight, was that a lot of matches had guest commentators. We had Booker T, Shawn Michaels. Booker T, I feel bad for because he was out for the Samoa Joe Rey Mysterio match, and he didn't even get a full 60 seconds for a match to commentate. So I feel really bad for him. Orton goes for the RKO early, but he can't hit it. They go back and forth. Those moves to start. Orton with a rake of the eyes and a drop kick. Orton works Styles around now. They end up colliding and going down to the floor, but Orton kicks AJ when they get back into the ring. Orton blasts AJ off the apron into the barrier. That looked a little stiff because the barrier seemed to be the barrier for WrestleMania tonight seemed to be between the ring and the barrier seemed to be a lot longer. So that spot with him getting shot off to the barrier looked a lot like it didn't go the way it was supposed to, because it was a lot more distance he had to cover. Taking his time, Orton keeps AJ grounded in the middle of the ring. AJ fights to his feet and connects with some strikes. AJ clotheslines Orton and flies in with a forearm. Orton leaps at Orton. AJ leaps at Orton in the corner and dazes him. AJ dropped on the back of his neck over his knees and covers for a 2 count with the middle of the ring. Orton blocks the Styles Clash. AJ blocks an RKO. Orton catches AJ with a power slam but can't put him away. Styles looks to go for a knee, but Orton rocks him in the corner. Orton blocks the calf crusher and stomps AJ in the chest. Orton takes AJ to the apron for the second rope draping DDT, but AJ counters that and goes for the calf crusher. AJ locks it in and tightens the hold, but Orton gets to the bottom rope and breaks the hold. As we get further into this match, Orton climbs up the top and eventually positions AJ for a super RKO from up high. AJ slides down and knocks Orton to the mat with a big Pele kick to the back of the neck. Orton clutches his ankles while he's down on the outside. AJ suddenly jumps off and hits a springboard phenomenal forearm to the outside, which I think was where they should have did an RKO out of nowhere, which I think would have been awesome. I know we did see the one on Tuesday in the ring, but this one would have been great as well. Orton did attempt early in the match to go for an RKO out of nowhere from the phenomenal forearm, but AJ put on the brakes and Orton just landed on his back. He went for a 450 on that too and got a 2 count. The crowd pops as the referee counts. AJ brings Orton back to the ring. AJ springboards up and Orton goes for the RKO, but I believe he did that at the Elimination Chamber where he caught him in an RKO or something like that. I think it was that or somewhere else, and he ended up hitting it there. This time AJ breaks him across the the top rope, hits the phenomenal forearm for the 1, 2, 3, and AJ Styles is victorious at WrestleMania. Definitely a great match between these two. I would like to see it again. Not anytime soon. Maybe at a SummerSlam or something. Maybe if Kofi loses the WWE Championship to Randy Orton. Maybe an AJ Styles Randy Orton WWE Championship match and Orton can get his win back. I think they're 1-1 now. So they would need a rubber match because in 2017 they battled each other to see who would face Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania, and Randy Orton won that match. So they would definitely 1-1 on the Victor scale. And then we went to a break. We came back and Lacey Evans comes out and struts her stuff to zero reaction. Absolutely zero reaction. Nobody in MetLife Stadium gave 2 fucks about Lacey Evans. The experiment they had for this has failed. No one cares. I still don't understand why Vince McMahon thinks that we want to see Lacey Evans strut her stuff, get the woman in the ring. Maybe she'll be there in the ring on Monday or Tuesday, maybe next week, who knows. But get the woman in the ring or get her out of here. I don't care about her strutting her stuff. It's been 2 months. 2 months since since after the Elimination Chamber or at the Elimination Chamber, whenever, that she's been doing this. And there's been absolutely zero reaction. Are we supposed to boo her? Are we supposed to cheer her? What are we supposed to do? Give her a mic and have her talk. Have her say something. This is just stupid and it's just so annoying. It's annoyed people more than it's got them to hate her or love her or whatever. Enough of it. Then we had, I think, what was one of the best matches of the night. The Fatal 4-Way for the SmackDown Live Tag Team titles. The Usos took on Aleister Black and Ricochet, The Bar, and Shinsuke Nakamura and Rusev. The 2 Royal Rumbles winners from last year, Nakamura and Asuka. Nakamura had the better position at WrestleMania, and that's kind of sad. Even though he did not win the match tonight, he's 0-2 at WrestleMania on the card. But also, it was nice to see the Usos getting somewhat redemption from what they got last year, because they had a match at WrestleMania 34 last year. It was the Usos versus the New Day versus the Bludgeon Brothers, and that match lasted like not even 5 minutes. It didn't even last 5 minutes, and the Usos pretty much got squashed on their first match on the card. Their first WrestleMania match on the main card. Tom Phillips said that the Usos have made history by becoming the first tag team to carry the tag team championships to WrestleMania 3 years in a row. I would have to disagree with that because, as we know, the pre-show does not count. Anyway, this was a fun match. This was absolutely, of all the tag team matches of the night, this was the best tag team match and was the second best match of the night. I still say Kofi Kingston versus Daniel Bryan was the best match. Ricochet and Aleister Black got to show themselves off and get themselves into their first WrestleMania. I wonder why Ricochet's lasers were taken off of him. They did not have his lasers at all in this match. And people were wondering maybe it's because it was an outdoor stadium, and then we find out later for Finn Balor's entrance they used lasers there. And I think they used him somewhere else too. So it's like, why did they take Ricochet's away? That would have looked epic. Ricochet, Aleister Black, and of course we're at WrestleMania, so and on the main roster. So Aleister Black's entrance had to have the drawbridge noise or whatever the fuck it is. That needs to go. It makes no sense and it has no business being there. I would hope that WrestleMania, like Aleister Black, could have got a bigger entrance than just normally. But hey, we'll make do with what we got. Again, very fun match. Byron Saxton, Corey Graves, and Tom Phillips on the call. There's so much action in this match. I can't even get into how good this match was. We got a 630 from Ricochet. Looked like we might have new tag champions, but everybody else from the Bar, the Usos, and Ricochet, not Ricochet, but the Bar, the Usos, and Shinsuke Nakamura and Rusev all came in to break up the pinfall. So definitely one of those best moments. We got a black mass from Aleister Black to Rusev. The match ends with Jay tagging himself in, and he flies out the top rope with Sheamus, but Cesaro meets him in midair. Definitely an awesome spot. Cesaro with some great timing. There was a massive spot in this match where Ricochet was the victim of a swing by Cesaro, and while that was going on, Sheamus would keep doing the 10 beats of the Bowery to everybody else not named Ricochet. He did it to Aleister Black. He did it to Nakamura. He did it to Rusev. I believe he did it to one of the Usos. He was just baiting everybody. And this swing just kept going on and on and on and on. It was a thing of just awesomeness. And then, of course, he puts him in the sharpshooter. That didn't work out. But a Black Master Rusev, everyone gets their finishers in as chaos takes over. More back and forth between the teams. The Usos double super kick Sheamus, take him down. They climb up opposite quarters, hit the big double super splash. They call it the double Oos, and they retain the titles. So the SmackDown Tag Team Championships are the first titles to not change hands on this night. Within that, of course, the obligatory Hall of Fame induction thing that we do. Cena, they did show Shoot Aitchison with Cena's 600th Make-A-Wish kid. DX came out and they was just dressed as they would for DX. They hugged all the guys around them. So nice little spot for the Hall of Famers. Always something they like to do. The next match, oh gosh. I call this the first piss break match because it was Miz versus Shane McMahon. But this match did better than I thought it was. The next match after this is the piss break match. That is The Miz versus Shane McMahon Falls Hell Anywhere match. This match was better than anything it had any right to be. Absolutely. This match went all over the place. Miz's father got involved, which I thought was cheesy and corny and didn't need to happen, but it happened. He squared up with Shane, and Shane gave him the lightest punches and kicks to the stomach that I think he could have. The Miz's father tried to sell it as well as he could. This match went all over the arena. They went into the the international announce team area. Miz put Shane through one of the tables with a Pearl River plunge leg maneuver. Miz beat the living shit out of Shane McMahon. They go up to a what is it? They go up to a scaffolding area that they have built for one of the camera operators to have for a wide shot. This poor camera operator is up there trying his damnedest not to get run over, not to get knocked over or anything. They get up there, they're 15 feet up. Miz grabs him as Shane McMahon's like, I'm sorry. He's he's asking for his forgiveness. Miz looks at him and then just starts beating the piss out of him. And then grabs him, turns him around, pulls him over, and we get a mega superplex, 15 feet or more. Fans immediately start chanting, holy shit, at the big spot. A referee is standing above them. They are both laid out in the position that they landed. The ref counts and gives the match to Shane McMahon because when they landed, Shane's shoulder landed on top of the Miz for the 1, 2, 3. I don't know if that was supposed to be the end of the way the match ended, because I figured Miz was supposed to win. but Shane McMahon's shoulder ended up on top from the bounce of the mat. Shane McMahon landed on top of The Miz and ended up winning the match. So The Miz loses and looks stupid in the end for taking that risk and sending Shane McMahon over with a superplex. It was better than it had any right to be, but Miz ends up losing to Shane McMahon in what was probably one of the more interesting matches of the night. The next match. Oh my goodness, this match was trash. And Bayley, Sasha Banks deserve better than this. The Iconics versus the Divas of Doom versus Samoans, Noah House, and the Boston Hug Connection for the Women's Tag Team Championships. Unless they do a quick title change this coming week on Raw or SmackDown, the fantasy booking we've had of the Sky Pirates versus the Boston Hug Connection at the next NXT TakeOver are gone up in smoke. This match was absolutely fucking ridiculously bad. This match was trash. I didn't even want to watch this match. This match was horrible. Apparently, and we all know, Sasha Banks and Bayley spent months and months and months pestering Vince McMahon to make the Tag Team Championships have happened. I hope they feel like fucking retards now because this match just showed that these titles are absolutely irrelevant. The Iconics are your Tag Team Champions for the women now, and I could care fucking less of these titles now. These titles were built and made for the Boston Hug Connection, and the fact that you give the titles to the Iconics in the most bullshit way possible. You had Beth Phoenix up top with Bayley. She goes up, hits her with a super glam slam while she's up on the turnbuckle. One of the Iconics, it did not look like who actually got the pin, tagged her. She hits the glam slam, they throw her out of the ring, gets the pin, 1, 2, 3, and the Iconics steal the women's tag team titles and make them absolutely irrelevant. What a shitty match. The team of Nia Jax and Tamina did almost nothing in this match. It was all the other teams. They did do a little bit, but they didn't do that much. They were absolutely useless. This is it for Nia Jax and Tamina. They are to be nowhere near the women's titles again. Not the women's major titles or the tag team titles. They are absolutely irrelevant and they need no business being here. They had no business putting Becky, Natalya and Beth Phoenix in this match. They didn't. They were just there. They got to do the whole Bret Hart giving them their endorsement going down the ramp. He played no factor in the match. He was there at the top of the ramp. They came down and he stood there. Absolutely no reason for that. They both did come out wearing coats that did look like the Hart Foundation coats from back in the day, so that was a cool little thing for her dad. Just an absolute terrible, terrible match. If I want to say worst match of the night, if I'm giving a star rating, negative 10 stars, this match was trash. Then, the match of the night, you can say otherwise. This match was match of the night, and quite honestly, the crowd needed to pick me up after the last match. This match was absolutely fantastic. Kofi Kingston battled Daniel Bryan for the WWE Championship. Apparently, WWE decided to get a little quick-witted with their merchandise because apparently, and what Culture pointed this out, I believe Andy Murray did, that on WWE Shop, 30 minutes before this match even went on the air, because this match only lasted 23 minutes and 45 seconds. This match was spoiled because on the WWE Shop, they put up new t-shirts. A new Kofi Kingston holding like the WWE Championship on this blue shirt with the New Day coming out of it. And that match, that shirt apparently was put on the WWE Shop 30 minutes before this match even ended. Talk about being stupid. WWE just has to ruin that shit. Kofi Kingston is your new WWE Champion. This match was fantastic. I didn't notice it until Biggie went out to grab. He told one of the stagehands to grab a box that they had. They had a present. He said, after you win, we're going to open this. After you win, we're going to open this. Okay. Made me a little worried. And then while he was doing that, there was a pedestal with a sheet over it with the WWE champion, another WWE championship with a sheet over it. So when the match started, the WWE championship, Daniel Bryan's version, was put on top of this. Okay, so I was like, what's going on here? I was thinking they were going to do something that I was hoping they didn't do, and I'm glad they didn't do it, was they were going to have a New Day-inspired strap for the WWE Championship for Kofi Kingston. They didn't do that, thank God. This match was absolutely everything it needed to be. This match, from start to finish, was the best match of the show. If I was ranking shows, this match would probably be a 5-star match, if not close. Was it a match of the year candidate? I would say yes, because the match was as good as it should have been. It lasted 23 minutes. Kofi was put over huge. Daniel Bryan did everything he could to make Kofi Kingston look like $1 million fucking bucks. Kofi Kingston looked like $1 million bucks coming out of this match. And the fact that Daniel Bryan put him over as well as he did, making Kofi battle and battle. Kofi Kingston couldn't do anything. Like, he was beating Kofi down left and right, pillar to post. Kofi Kingston looked like he was like inches or seconds away from losing at every single turn. The midnight hour that they did to Rowan on the outside with Big E and Xavier Woods was absolutely awesome. This was by far the show peaked. If this would have been the main event of the show would have been off with a happy note, even though it kind of did. But we'll get to that later. This was absolutely the best match of the night. 5 stars for me. Kofi Kingston, Daniel Bryan put on one hell of a match. This match, Bryan grabs Kofi by the arms and delivers some stomps to him as Woods and Big E cheer him on. They go back and forth a little bit more. He can't put Kofi away. Kofi refused to be put away. Bryan goes for the labella lock. Kofi slides out for and mounts Bryan with some strikes. Bryan would not let go of Kofi's arm. The arm he tried to put in the labella lock. He would not let it go. So Kofi just continues to rain down strikes on him as this continues on. The fans chant yes as Kofi with some weaker stomps to Daniel Bryan because he just couldn't he was beat up and everything. He plays to the crowd as they start the New Day chant, Rocks chants. Bryan gets up and he gets hit with the Trouble in Paradise for the 1, 2, 3. If there was a roof on MetLife Stadium, it would have been off after this match. This was the best they could have done. And at this time, because of WWE's track record, I was worried for the main event. But we'll get to that later. After the match, the New Day hits the ring for a big celebration. The arena is going crazy as the music hits. They celebrate, and the referee goes wild. Big E reveals the gift at ringside with, by the way, they bring in Kofi's 2 sons. His youngest, Kofi holds, and he has no reaction. His other son, which is definitely his oldest son, is definitely trained on how to work a camera because this kid stole the show. Kofi Kingston's one son stole the show. He gave him the title. He held it up as if it was the biggest thing he's ever, like the best thing he's ever held. They had the new shirts that when they brought the president in, they opened it up. Now, before they did the president, Big E and Xavier go over to where the WWE Championship is, Daniel Bryan's version. You see Xavier with this disgusted look on his face, like this does not represent the WWE Championship, not one bit. Big E grabs it, holds it up as Xavier pulls the curtain up, the sheet up, and there's the WWE Championship with Kofi Kingston's plates already on it. I was a little disappointed with the plates. I thought they could have did a little bit better. They could have did something better with the plates. They just have his name. I think those are just temporary. They were just something for show. I think Kofi deserves better than that for his championship win. But Kofi Kingston looks like he's about ready to cry in the ring, and rightfully so. They bring that title in the ring. In come the kids. And his one son just steals the show completely, takes over and becomes like the biggest thing that you could see. They bring the thing in. Kofi's one son they give him a shirt. He actually goes up, shows it up at the ring, and then actually tosses it into the crowd. So his kid's definitely trained on how to play up to the crowd. So a big celebration. Great to see what they would do. And you deserve it chant. Kofi's sons are brought in the ring, as I said. They pull out a custom championship t-shirt from the gift box that Biggie had. They throw a few in the crowd. They celebrate. We go to replays and go to celebration continues. Definitely great fucking match. If you want to see any match from WrestleMania, you need to see Daniel Bryan versus Kofi Kingston. It was the match it needed to be. 4.5 to 5 stars in my opinion. Definitely one of the best matches in WrestleMania history and one of the best feel-good moments of all time. And I'm going to be honest with you, I am happy to see Kofi Kingston. I remember back when 2009, when he would 2009 or 10, whatever, that he was supposed to be feuding with Randy Orton with possibly winning the WWE Championship back there, and that gets taken away from him because Randy Orton bitched a fit backstage. I was like, man, this guy's never going to be WWE Champion. I felt like they were never going to take a chance on Kofi. Mustafa Ali falls, and Kofi rises and wins the WWE Championship. Now, I'm happy for him, and I hope it's not a 2-day title reign. I'm hoping this goes to at least Money in the Bank. Maybe SummerSlam, but we'll have to wait and see. Definitely a great moment for Kofi Kingston. We go backstage, and Alexa Bliss is seen coming to the trainer's room, and it said mortuary underneath of it, which I thought was funny. Colin Jost and Michael Che in there getting themselves iced up. He says he apologized to Colin Jost and Michael Che, saying he really is a nice guy. They're not buying it. They argue with each other about which of them is to blame. Bliss leaves with two doctors who will check up on them. And the doctors are revealed to be Hall of Famers Kevin Nash and Scott Hall, who will take real good care of the SNL stars. As soon as Kevin Nash put the rubber glove on and snapped it, I would have been, goodbye. Those guys were scared as fuck, and that was just, I don't know, that was not something I really cared about. Oh boy. This match was a disappointment for the fact that it was so short. And usually it's the other way around. But it was the United States Championship, Samoa Joe versus Rey Mysterio. Booker T was on the call for this match. They do the international announce team bit for this, where they go over who's all calling the matches for other countries. While Rey Mysterio makes his, they do half of Rey Mysterio's entrance, half of Samoa Joe's entrance. The bell rings, Joe goes right to work on Rey Mysterio. Rey fights back and goes for an early 619 and nails it. Rey goes to fly, but Joe catches him and applies the coquina clutch, dropping to the mat and looking to end the match soon after begins. The referee checks on Rey as he passes out, and the match ends in 55 seconds. Not for nothing, it's, okay, 1 minute. They say 1 minute, but I'm saying 55 seconds. That's what it said originally. So within 60 seconds, Rey Mysterio was out. Honestly, I don't think that's how the match was originally supposed to go, but thanks to a injury on Monday Night Raw, Rey Mysterio was definitely not amped for a long-winded match. It's just, I don't know what they were going to do with Dominic, but Dominic was not factored into this at all, so I don't know why they even mentioned him one bit on SmackDown Live, so it does make Samoa Joe look like a killer, and again, the right man won in the right way. Samoa Joe does not tap people out to the coquina clutch. You pass out. Rey Mysterio passed out just like Mustafa Ali did on Tuesday. Just like Rey Mysterio did during the Fatal 4-Way, which Rey Mysterio was at Fastlane, where Samoa Joe retained his title. If you get put in the coquina clutch, you don't tap out. You go night-night. You pass out. After the match, Joe stands tall, touches the title. After the match, we go to replays as Joe's music hits, and he celebrates as we go to another commercial break. I will say that Samoa Joe's first match at WrestleMania was a little bit of a letdown, but it does make him look like an absolute killer. After this match, it just felt like nothing on this show mattered. Nothing else mattered, but we go to a match where the guy looks like a killer to where we get bored to tears. Drew McIntyre versus Roman Reigns in just a personal grudge match. This match was boring as fuck. Roman Reigns needs to do something different. It's status quo with him again. We're back to Roman Reigns being the guy who gets his ass kicked 95% of a match. Superman punch, spear, 1, 2, 3. Exactly what we got here. He gets brutalized by Drew McIntyre for the majority of the match. it calls for the Superman punch, but dodges it, hits a headbutt. Reigns nails the Superman punch, waits for Drew to get up, delivers the spear, 1, 2, 3, and that was that. Crowd gave no fuck about this match. What Culture on Twitter did mention, and this match lasted 10 minutes. This match, we had a 10-minute, 10-second snore fest, and that's sad because Drew McIntyre can tear a house down if you give him the chance. But with Roman Reigns, it's a snore fest majority of the time. This match sucked. -5 stars for me. This match was terrible. Roman Reigns wins. Did you expect anyone else to win this match? I didn't. Absolutely ridiculous. And then, of course, we had the longest match of the night that should have went half this time. And, of course, Triple H had two things. Triple H is written into his contract two things. He has to have the biggest and most elaborate entrance coming into WrestleMania, and he has to have the longest match on the card. This match went 24 minutes, 45 seconds. It went longer than the main event, which went 3 minutes and 15 seconds shorter. I'm just saying. No holds barred. Triple H must retire if he is from competition if he was to lose. Now, before we talk about this match, did anyone really think Triple H was going to lose this match? Did anyone really think? Oh yeah, before this match, I forgot to mention. Before this match, we go back from break, and Elias is introduced. He plays a set of drums for several seconds. He's reintroduced, and this time he's playing piano. He was reintroduced. This time he's in the middle of the ring, and there's the two other versions of Elias who were apparently taped ahead of time, of course. Elias asks if we've even seen a more handsome man, and says tonight is going to go very special as he has something planned that was never been done before. He starts playing a song with the piano Elias and Elias drummer that looks like all three of them doing the same performance. Renee says, "Wow," because that sounded so good, which it didn't. Elias calls the performance so impressive. He has his other two personas stand tall and take a bow. Elias tells them he's got it from here, and he asks Seth who wants to walk with Elias. And how important this is. He wrote something special for WrestleMania. His first song tonight, he says this will be WrestleMania anthem for years to come. He asked to sign the song and all that stuff. And then a retro clip of New York Yankees baseball legend Babe Ruth calling his shot years ago. The clip ends up with with Thugonomics coming on. And then John Cena comes out dressed as the Doctor of Thugonomics. So we go back to 2003, 2004 era John Cena as the Doctor was in the house. And again, John Cena showed that this dude kills it like better than anybody. Fans chant for Cena as he hits the ring. He says the Doctor Thugonomics is back, and Elias got a raw deal. Cena says he mentions how he's about to turn heel. Cena goes on rapping, talking shots at Elias. He then says he's going. I cannot do John Cena justice. He did say he was going to hit Elias with the FU, as we know it is the attitude adjustment nowadays. He decks Elias and the mic drops, and he drops the mic. Cena goes to hit the 5-knuckle shuffle, then the attitude adjustment. Cena makes his exit from the ring while Elias is down on the mat, and Cena stops on the stage and looks back at the crowd, raising his arms in the air. Great fucking segment for John Cena. Definitely a WrestleMania moment, and something that people are really going to talk about. And if you get WWE 2K20, don't be surprised if you see Dr. Thugonomics, John Cena, and you see that version of him. Man, am I fucking tired. It's been a long night. Then we get the no holds barred match. Shawn Michaels is out for this one for guest commentary. A couple SUVs pull up the stage, and we see a team of security guards all in black to line up the ramp. It's Batista who comes out and he walks in front of his security and then does his machine gun entrance, which I still love. Walk Alone by Saliva, and his machine gun entrance is obviously one of the best entrances of all time. Then he comes out and we get a poorly 3D version, a poorly rendered version of Mad Max. So Triple H is coming out with the Mad Max. And of course, like I said, he has to have the biggest entrance of them all. Power goes off, Batista enters the ring and goes to the ringside and starts playing a video at the big screen with the Mad Max Fast and Furious theme to it. One of the cars drives onto the stage. A man is driving the hot rod, and Triple H is perched on the back wearing a hoodie and a mask. There's a large skull on the front of the hot rod. It revived up some and stops at ringside. Triple H music starts up as he stares Batista in the back of the car. Triple hits the apron and poses as the fireworks goes off. This match went 24 minutes and 45 seconds, and it should have went 13 minutes and 35 seconds. This match went way too long. They did a spot where Batista has a nose ring, and Triple H had a chair. He's on his back. Triple H puts a chair over his neck and has a pair of needle nose pliers. Says, "That's a nice nose ring, don't you think?" Goes down and pulls it out. And Batista comes out with some blood. Definitely a nasty looking moment. Chairs, chains, beat down after beat down, spear through a backdrop from the Spanish announce table onto the American announce table, spear by Triple H from the American announce table through the German announce table. These guys beat the holy hell out of each other. This match was alright. Triple H goes to find the sledgehammer. Batista spears him, gets a 2 count. Ric Flair makes an appearance, hands Triple H a sledgehammer. There were 2 sledgehammers. Batista gets distracted by Ric Flair. Triple H goes up and hits runs up. There were stairs in the middle of the ring. Hits a Superman punch-like attack with the sledgehammer. Pedigree, 1, 2, 3, and Batista is defeated by Triple H. Did you really think Triple H was losing at Wrestlemania with his career on the line? Nope, not a chance. I was hoping he would have, but we all know how that goes. Triple H was not losing tonight. It was more obvious than not. After the match, Triple H stands tall as if he's a kid. We go to replays, and Triple H holds his sledgehammer at ringside and embraces Ric Flair as Batista recovers in the ring. It was a fine match. Batista got beat up. Triple H got beat up. Definitely went longer than it should have. Batista and them, these two were not spring chickens. This match, of course, was no holds barred just so they could get through the match. Imagine these two in 2019 trying to have a one-on-one singles match with no stipulation whatsoever. That would have been boring as fuck. I thought, with the fact that Shawn Michaels was on commentary, we might see a sweet chin music fight from him to Batista, but that didn't happen. Of course, Ric Flair was the payoff to have him win, help Triple H win. We go backstage to host Alexa Bliss. We see now it's time to get down to business, so she also has Curtis Axel and Bo Dallas showing off a new Daniel Bryan t-shirt from WWE Shop, which was going to be and still the Planet's champion. In case, Daniel Bryan still won, they had a shirt ready for him. They're dancing around like fools. Out comes Ron Simmons for a damn chance. For a damn. Which leads to JBL. Oh, we needed to see JBL. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this right here summarizes what we saw tonight for Baron Corbin and Kurt Angle. This match was absolutely not necessary. This match lasted 6 minutes and 5 seconds. Baron Corbin beat Kurt Angle in 6 minutes and 5 seconds. Kurt Angle had Baron Corbin beat, so what does he do? Let's go and do a moonsault from the top rope, miss it, get hit with the end of days, 1, 2, 3. Nothing else in this match happened that was worth it. Nothing. This match was boring. This match was not necessary. This match just did not need to happen. You cut this match in Roman versus Drew McIntyre, and you have 10 matches on the main card, and you're done at 11:30. Let me see. Yeah, you cut Baron Corbin, and you cut this. You cut this match, and you cut Roman Reigns versus. Okay, so that's about 16 minutes. So you still finish. You cut You cut the last 3 matches, if I'm correct. The last 3 matches were Roman Reigns. Yeah, you cut the last 3 matches, and you have yourself done at 11:30. About. The last 3 matches were not necessary and just bloated the show. Baron Corbin didn't unless it's a career match where if you lose you lose your career, which this was not. This was his farewell match. It has been reported that Kurt Angle has re-signed with WWE and is going to be an on-air talent still. So this being his last match, I don't buy it for 1 second. This is WWE. They're going to use Kurt Angle when they want to, and if they have to, they will. So this being his retirement match, I don't buy it. This is the same company that had Mick Foley retire at No Way Out 2000, and he was in the Fatal 4-Way, Everett McMahon in McMahon in every corner match at WrestleMania 2000. So I don't buy it. Let me see. What do we have at? Okay, after this match, Corbin stands tall, smiles as he celebrates and begins his music starts up. We go to replays and see reactions of shocked fans in the crowd. And nobody was happy with the match being the way it was. If you were surprised that Baron Corbin won, then I don't know what to tell you. Kurt Angle says the last 20 years he's had the time of his life, including tonight. Angle wants to thank everyone. He wants to hear those two words that epitomize his career. And Angle calls for his music to hit, and they play the "You Suck" chants. Stood up, Angle takes it all in and thanks the crowd. He leaves the ring and stops at the ringside to greet his family. Angle heads to the back, thanking the fans, bowing his way up to the ring. Again, not necessary. A match that didn't need to happen. Boy. And then we only had 2 matches left after this time. 2 matches. And we had Bobby Lashley defending the Intercontinental title against the Demon, Finn Balor. This match was just 4 minutes of Bobby Lashley being, other than a little bit of offense, getting squashed and handled like a bitch. Finn Balor, as the Demon, made Bobby Lashley his bitch. I think Finn Balor needs Finn Balor needs 2 different sets of music. He needs music for when he's not the Demon, and he needs music when he is the Demon, because it doesn't work. The biggest spot of this match was towards the end when Bobby Lashley was powerbombed by Bobby Lashley, and the fact that he's trying to lift him up, he's kneeing him in the face, he tries again, he stiff kicks him in the face, picks him up, hits a powerbomb, goes up, hits the coup de grace, 1, 2, 3, and Finn Balor is your new Intercontinental Champion, beating Bobby Lashley in 4 minutes and 5 seconds. So, a match that nobody should really care about. Demon Finn Balor looked great coming into WrestleMania. I wish it was for a more high-profile match. It was the match before the main event. But still, a match that I think wasn't necessary. And the fact that he needed the Demon to beat Bobby Lashley, but didn't need the Demon to face Brock Lesnar is it's just mind-boggling. So that's that. After the break, out comes Alexa Bliss, who announces the bullshit record of 82,265 fans in attendance for WrestleMania 35. The fans pop and fireworks go off. The stadium cold thanks everyone. Bliss says this has been incredible, so it's time for a break. Says it 3 times, and out comes Carmella and R-Truth for a 20-second dance break. Even so, she says the world's longest 7-second dance break, so we get a dance break because Vince McMahon enjoys that. And then we get a promo for WrestleMania 36, which is going to be in the future home of the XFL Tampa Bay team, Raymond James Stadium, for WrestleMania 36 in Tampa, Florida. It is going to be a pirate theme, so I damn better see a pirate ship next year at WrestleMania. By the way, tonight's WrestleMania set was absolutely underwhelming compared to what we saw last year with the WrestleMania with the mask for a Mardi Gras mask, and the year before that with the Ultimate Thrill Ride. This was looked like they took Monday Night Raw set, took the screen, and just made it super huge. That was it. Nothing else special about this. It was about the set coming in this year. So when we get to the next pay-per-view for June coming up, I'm going to be like, whatever. The Saudi show. When the Saudi show has a better set than this one, you're all going to be sitting like, Vince. By the way, this show was clocking in at 12 o'clock almost when the Raw Women's Championship and SmackDown Women's Championship match was about to go. Winner take all, triple threat match. We had a botch. We had a botch with Rich Hamilton, and that was a bad show what was going to happen for this match. This match fucking sucked. This match was terrible. This match was overhyped, overbooked, and way too fucking sloppy. This match was terrible. Botch after botch after botch after botch. This was the first ever women's main event of WrestleMania, and you gave us one of the worst women's matches in WrestleMania history. The match between Charlotte and Asuka last year was 10 times better than this match. This match was awful. I mean, they had Charlotte Flair showing she was coming in a helicopter, obviously taped last night. When you could tell because they did a camera cut, they had her. She came in out of the helicopter with a black jacket off. She took that off. They brought a robe to her. She put the robe on, and they cut to the snaps already being in place. So obviously it was taped the night before she walked into the arena. Joan Jett introduced Ronda Rousey. Charlotte Flair came out next, and Becky came out looking hot as fuck. I'm going to tell you that right now. She looked hot as hell. But this match lasts 21 minutes and 30 seconds, and this match was absolutely botch fest. The end of the match was a fucking botch too. Charlotte Flair, well, leading into the end of the match, we had, for whatever fucking reason, Becky Lynch goes out to get a table. It looks like Charlotte Flair is going to try and put Becky Lynch through the table with a moonsault. Becky stops that. Ronda knocks them both over and grabs the table and says, "You want a table, guys? Tables are for bitches." Thought that was fucking hilarious. I think Charlotte put the table in the corner. So she charges at both Becky and Ronda. They flip her into the table, and the table only cracks. It does not break. Can we please stop having Charlotte Flair in matches with table spots because she fucking sucks at it? Flair is sent to the floor. Lynch and Rousey face off in the middle of the ring as fans pop. They unload in the middle of the ring with strikes. Rousey with a huge kick to Lynch's face to drop her. Rousey goes for a Piper's Pit, but Lynch changes that into a crucifix pinning predicament. And the ref starts counting. One fucking problem with the end of this match. Becky goes to get the crucifix to cinch the crucifix in. Ronda, the ref counts 1. Ronda's shoulders come up off the mat as she's trying to readjust herself. The ref counts 2, then 3 without restarting the count, and Becky Lynch wins. So the first ever women's main event, winner take all, Becky Lynch wins, ends with a massive botch. Terrible, terrible end to WrestleMania. Everything after Kofi Kingston was just flat. Everything. I did forget to mention that Batista made his entrance to the match with Triple H, gets into the ring, and instead of getting into the ring fine, he slips on the middle rope and trips himself up. Absolutely fucking terrible. I guarantee you there's going to be I'm sure Matthew from Wrestlemania is just salivating with how bad this match was. This match was terrible for the women's evolution. The right woman won. Terrible payoff, too. This match should have ended with Becky Lynch tapping out Ronda Rousey. Don't give a fuck what anyone else to say. The payoff should have been Becky tapping Ronda. Becky winning was fine, but Becky tapping Ronda would have been a lot better than Ronda Rousey getting pinned with a botched up crucifix pin. The match could never, ever match the hype that it got. This match should have did better than it did, but they botched so much. Ronda Rousey, Becky Lynch, and Charlotte Flair should be ashamed for how bad they did that match. That match was terrible. But that was your main event of WrestleMania. The first half of this show was I would say a 7.5 out of 10. If you want to go 7.5 out of 10, that would be the first half. Once Kofi Kingston won the WWE Championship, the rest of the show was a 4.5 out of 10. Just going to be honest with you. Everything else was flat or boring. I'm glad all the major, the 3 big matches that we all figured we were going to see 2 of the 3 titles change hands. All 3 changed hands. I'm happy about that. But everything peaked after Kofi. Honestly, that should have been the main event of the show. Kofi Kingston, Daniel Bryan should have been the main event. This was the final match of this show was an absolute disaster. Absolute disaster, and is a bad look at the women's evolution. Both matches on this show for the women on the main card pale in comparison to Ronda and Kurt Angle versus Triple H and Stephanie last year, and Charlotte versus Asuka blew both of these matches out of the water. The main event was terrible and made the rest of this match stink. The rest of the show stink. This show went from, oh, this is probably one of the best WrestleManias, to Kofi winning and it just going downhill from there. Now, the reason I'm saying 7.5 out of 10 for the first half, from Seth Rollins surprising everybody and winning in 2 minutes to Kofi Kingston, is because of the Iconics winning a piss-poor Fatal 4-Way women's tag team match. This match was just, oh my gosh. I can't even anymore. WrestleMania started off with a bang and ended with a very bad whimper. A very botchy whimper. If I had to grade this overall, I would have to say WrestleMania is a 6 out of 10. Average show. Absolute average show. The first half was good. The second half was just downright boring, botchy, and flat. Cut out the Roman versus Drew McIntyre match. Cut out Triple H versus Batista, and cut out Baron Corbin versus Kurt Angle. And this show probably is going to be an 8. Those matches did not help. The Iconics winning a terrible Fatal 4-Way in a piss poor manner. That match should have been the Boston Hub Connection winning that match right there. Having those titles change hands took this show down at least a rating at all. So definitely a 6 out of 10 for an overall show. But that is your WrestleMania review for your WrestleMania 35 for April 7, 2019. It is 2:07 a.m. as I finish this. What a fucking night. Kofi, Becky, and Seth Rollins all walk away champions. Seth Rollins the championship is finally back on Monday Night Raw, and I hope Seth Rollins can can do his damnedest to make this title worth it. Hit that subscribe button, comment down below, like or dislike this video. Let me know what your favorite matches of the show were. I'm still saying Kofi Kingston versus Daniel Bryan was the match of the night. Hit that subscribe button, comment down below, like or dislike this video. Find me on Twitter, The Fronts. Find me on twitch.tv/TheFronts08. I will see you guys tomorrow for the Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania, and Tuesday for the Tuesday night after WrestleMania. NXT Aftermath show, I believe I might skip. I don't know. I'll watch it, but if there's not anything really good to talk about, I'll skip it for the thing, and we'll see you for Unscripted next weekend. Until then, I'm gonna try and get the G1 Supercard in this week as well. And I will see you. But until then, my name is Franz, and I will see you guys later.